What is going on, everybody? My name is Keenan Costain, and welcome back to another episode of Hornets Recaps. And on today's episode, we'll be discussing breaking news out of the Charlotte Hornets. Lamelo Ball and Josh Green have been traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves for Naz Reid and future draft picks. Yes, Lamelo Ball has been traded to Minnesota along with Josh Green to Minnesota for Naz Reid and draft picks. This news came out yesterday morning, and I'm here to react to this news while it's fresh on everybody's mind still after a good 24 hours after this news broke. And let's talk about it here, coming up next. So, like I said in the intro, breaking news: Lamelo Ball, Hornets guard, has been traded to Minnesota along with Josh Green for Naz Reid and draft picks. And let's just get straight into it. It's the most interesting trade I've ever seen. So let's go over the details a little bit further. The trade for Naz Reid and the Minnesota Timberwolves center, a 2033 unprotected first round pick, 3 first round swaps, 2028, 2029, and 2030, and 3 second round picks, 2029, 2032, and 2033. It's one of those things that you say to yourself, that's it. That's all the Hornets is going to get. Lamelo Ball, Josh Green, traded away for Naz Reid and some draft picks. When I first saw this news that reached social media, and it was reported around 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time when I found out, I was in total disbelief about the news. I was confused. I was shocked. I was starstruck. Whatever word that comes to my mind that came yesterday morning, I basically woke up hearing about Lamelo Ball being traded, and it was so out of left field for Lamelo Ball to be traded because let's take a look at what he did last year. Lamelo Ball played in 72 games last year, averaging 20.1 points per game, shot 89.9% for the free throw line, 36.8% from three, to go along with 4.8 rebounds, 7.1 assists, and 1.2 steals per game. This was great for Lamelo Ball. It was the best he's ever looked in quite some time. I really think with Lamelo Ball being traded to Minnesota, it is a questionable decision. We don't know anything else when it comes to what's going to happen with the team going forward. And the only thing that we see happening right now with the Hornets at this time, while I'm recording this video, is that Kobe White will be coming back as a starter, and he signed a 3-year, $77 million contract to be a starting point guard. And when it comes to the Minnesota Timberwolves, Lamelo Ball is paired up with a superstar in Anthony Edwards that has been to the playoffs. Now, for the Hornets, they've not been to the playoffs in 10 years. Yes, they made it to the postseason. They made it to the play-in. And the last video that I made was about the play-in game. And this is my first video back. And I just had to make a video on this. And it's so weird. It's one of the most weirdest things I've seen for a superstar in Lamelo Ball to be traded for just one player and a couple of unprotected picks and some swaps. I read you the notes. 2033 unprotected first round pick, 3 first round pick swaps in 28, 29, and 30, and the 3 second round picks 29, 32, 33. I really thought this was going to be a lot more, and we would get somebody in return like Rudy Gobert, for example, or Jalen McDaniels, for example, from Minnesota. And just to have LaMelo Ball and Josh Green being part of that deal and getting one player back for picks doesn't sit well with me. So that's the bad part of the coin. So how does this affect the Hornets' future? Well, it definitely clears up some cap space of LaMelo Ball's contract. A reminder for some of you that don't really know what took place years before this news broke yesterday. In 2023 of July, Ball signed the richest contract in Hornets history. A 5-year max rookie extension worth up to $260 million. $260 million to stay with the Hornets in 2023. What else does this mean? Well, the Hornets have $41 million in trade exemption after this trade with LaMelo Ball. Definitely cleared up the cap space, like I mentioned earlier. And the Hornets, according to Yahoo Sports, has about $55.3 million in salary to use. So it definitely cleared up the cap space for LaMelo, like I said, for the third time already in this video. So you're probably thinking, what are we gonna do? Because you're probably thinking to yourself, this can't be it either. And I wholeheartedly thought that as well when the news broke, that Naz Reid, draft picks, Kobe White coming back as being a starter on the team, having a 3-year deal. There's got to be more to the story to replace LaMelo Ball and replace Josh Green along in this trade that the Hornets can bring on this team for the upcoming future. So without further ado, there are some candidates that are on the move and that could be possibly coming to the Queen City. Jaylen Brown is probably the best candidate on this list. He's the best candidate for the Hornets to replace LaMelo Ball, an all-around player. And with the team they have now, they still need to make some moves. So here's my theory. Brandon Briller, Miles Bridges, and the unprotected first-round pick, 3 first-round pick swaps, is a part of the deal. Now, I'm not saying all those picks is going to be part of this trade. I think they're going to use some of it, but not all. Number 2, where are they going to put Jaylen Brown in the lineup? Because you already have Kobe White at the point, shooting guard Brandon Miller, small forward Con Nipple, Miles Bridges, power forward, and Musa Diabate center. Like, they're not going to put Jaylen Brown on the bench. They're not going to do that. So my theory is they take Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges in a trade, along with the first round pick swaps. So that is my prediction for the Jaylen Brown situation. And I really hope this happens. This would bring a lot of experience. Jaylen Brown, finals MVP, finals contender, champion for the Boston Celtics. Charles Lee has worked with Jaylen Brown for one season. They already have the chemistry, so why not him? Why not bring Jaylen Brown here? That would definitely bring a lot of noise back at the Spectrum Center once again. The next person on this list is Jamal Murray, point guard. Is Jamal Murray going to take over Kobe White's starting role as projected going forward? That would be nice. I wouldn't mind that either. Gain a solid point guard. I don't know what would be the best trade. It would probably be Miles Bridges and those draft picks again. So Jamal Murray is a candidate. Aaron Gordon, another candidate. A power forward. They need some size. Even though Naz Reid has some size at the big man position. Naz Reid can spread the floor, shoot the three, be aggressive. Something that Musa Diabate, Ryan Kalkbrenner didn't do much at all last season, which was getting outside the paint, shooting the three ball, being aggressive down the block. And Aaron Gordon can or Naz Reid, excuse me, Naz Reid can definitely do that. With Aaron Gordon, it wouldn't be a bad idea to bring a veteran presence on this team because of how young the Hornets looked offensively last year. And we'll get more to Lamelo Ball's uh, more of his stats here near the end of this video. But Aaron Gordon would be a great presence. The next guy on this list, Mitchell Robinson. A report came out via ESPN, unlikely to return to New York. Now, New York Knicks won the championship a couple weeks ago. And Mitchell Robinson, great shot blocker, can get into the paint. Pretty much your traditional big man, per se. You know, sort of like your fierce presence down low. Mitchell Robinson could definitely fit the bill. Would they move Naz Reid to the bench? Would they move Musa to the four? And Miles Bridges would be on the way out? Would Brandon Miller be part of that trade? I'm not really sure, but Mitchell Robinson could be a target as well, in my opinion. Now, finally, a player that's currently on the market, but it's not being looked at as a Hornet, but Jalen Duren. Yes, you remember Jalen Duren? The fight with Musa Diabate at the Pistons and back in February, the suspension between those two. What if those two, Musa Diabate and Jalen Duren, are basically your front court? You would have to get rid of Miles Bridges. You would have to get rid of probably Brandon Miller and, get rid of the picks. So Jalen Duren, don't know much. Kind of like the Mitchell Robinson, Aaron Gordon, and Jamal Murray. Don't know much. But those are some guys that can definitely bring some sort of experience. Now, Lamelo Ball being traded away. Like I said, it's very disappointing. It's very upsetting. It's frustrating at times because you have a superstar player that has done a lot for the Hornets the past 6 years. I didn't expect to have Lamelo Ball on this team in 2020, and that was the COVID year. It's frustrating to see him walk, to see him let go. And Lamelo Ball has brought the experience and the know-how and the passion to this Hornets fan base. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do next. I was thinking about what Lamelo Ball has done over the course of his career in Charlotte. He's made some questionable decisions as a young kid, 18, 19 years old, and he made some questionable decisions on the court. He's been into some altercations with media. He's been fined. He's been he's been in some car accidents as of late, happening throughout this past season. And it seems like with LaMelo Ball, with this past season, he's played his best basketball ever in his career. And he's done some things that he's definitely worked on to get better. And I'm proud of LaMelo Ball doing that. And I really think, with that being said, it's going to help him thrive in Minnesota with Anthony Edwards. And I really think it's going to be an interesting situation due to his health as well, the ankles, and what how is he going to react with another superstar and Anthony Edwards. So it's definitely going to be interesting with LaMelo Ball and Anthony Edwards. It's going to be fun, but only time will tell because we don't know the full story with the Hornets are going to do and if they're going to bring some people in. So that's one thing to keep an eye out on over the next coming weeks when we hit free agency. And don't forget, too, we have the NBA draft. And there's a report coming from Shams Sejriani that LaMelo Ball was in talks of being traded right after the second round of the NBA draft was over. And turned out that was the case. And it may turn out for the good, may not turn out for the bad, but only time will tell, and it depends how the Hornets respond. Because I don't think this is not the end of what the Hornets are trying to accomplish as an organization. I really think they can do okay without LaMelo Ball. We've seen that, especially the second half of the year, bringing in Kobe White, that has playoff experience, that has starting experience, that has the IQ. So I'm not too worried much about it. From a fan's perspective, I am sad that you're giving away your best player only for such little to get back in this trade, along with Josh Green being a part of that deal and the draft picks and getting Naz Reid. Naz Reid is going to be great for the Hornets, and we already know he's gonna most likely be starting at this time, but it's gonna be a tough pill to swallow not to see LaMelo Ball in a Hornets uniform. With all of this being said, the possibilities are out there with the amount of cap space that we have. Again, $41 million in trade exception, $55.3 million in salary. That's a lot to work with. And the Hornets front office at Spectrum Center, I hope they're putting something together, because it's going to be nice to explore these names I mentioned, and there's some other names I'm probably forgetting that that I probably forgotten about while making this video. But Only time will tell when it comes to that. But I don't think it's the end when with this situation of Lamelo Ball being traded to Minnesota. The Hornets are gonna hopefully find a guy to replace him, that being Lamelo, and hopefully the Hornets can make all the right moves when it comes to their situation. Before I forget, yes, we will get to the NBA draft on another day, maybe later next week when I have more available time. But I just wanted to come out here and express my opinions, my feelings about the LaMelo Ball situation. It's been 2 months since I made a video, and wish I made more about what the Hornets were going to do draft wise. And that will be more of the next video that comes up, even though we already know who the Hornets got in return or got in the draft, rather. So that will be a video for another day. But for now, LaMelo Ball, we will miss you as a Hornet. See what happens in Minnesota with Anthony Edwards. And yeah, that's really what I got. So that'll do it for another episode of Hornets Recaps. Again, my name is Keenan Costain, and if you like what you see, feel free to give it a like, subscribe down below for more, and until next time, I'll catch you in the next one, and we'll see what happens with this situation with LaMelo Ball. We'll see if there's more to the story, and I'm sure there will be, and I'm sure I will keep you updated the best I can by possibly making a video for you guys. It's so great to be back at it. Just needed some time off as well. And this is a crazy, crazy, crazy way to come back. Talking about LaMelo Ball being traded to Minnesota. And until next time, take it easy. Have a good one. See you later.